Good to see you again on Catholics Matter. You know, just about in every diocese, that has a diocesan newspaper, they've got a columnist. And throughout the world of journalism, of course, what's the role of a columnist is pretty high profile. But the idea of the columnist is kind of get conversation started. And enshrined in our own diocesan tabloid, the Catholic Sun, here in the Diocese of Phoenix, Chris Benguhe and his Better View. Chris, welcome. It's good to have you on Catholics Matter.
Very nice to be here. Thank
Now,
you
would
for
it be
having me.
fair to say that the role of a columnist is to get conversation started?
Absolutely. And I like to talk about some things that maybe aren't always talked about in church. The
Oh, yeah?
practical applications
Oh, yeah?
of being faithful. Yeah.
Talk to me about that. What you got on your mind?
Well, one of the things that I am so blessed to be able to do and to hear is that I talk about issues of everyday living, issues that have to do with a lot of the things that maybe we don't want to talk about, relationship problems and the difficulty of being faithful. Do we question our faith sometimes? Do we have trouble doing the right thing? And maybe we do the wrong thing a lot, we have people in our lives who aren't necessarily treating us the way we want them to treat us. We have people we're not treating the way we want to treat them. And you can always say, yeah, that's not the right thing to do, excuse me, or do the right thing. But I try to talk about the feelings, the experiences, what we're going through in our lives as a positive experience, no matter what they are, because they're an opportunity for us to reach out to God, an opportunity for us to reach out to others, and it's a little bit of a different take.
Well, there's also another opportunity that your column affords, because I would be less than honest if I didn't say I've read your column and thought, this would be good in a homily. Just throwing it out there.
I can always hope.
Just throwing it out there.
I've had a lot of religious come to me and say, hey, that was a great column. I used a little bit of it in my homily, and talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm guilty.
And that's great. I really like being a source for everyone in the church.
Well, look, the homily itself is supposed to be a conversation. So
Exactly.
to get people thinking, applying, what our faith, what our religion instructs us into everyday living. Now, let me ask you, everyday living, how is it that, I run into this with the college students I work with all the time. They can't ever get it into their heads that, look, God can work with failure, but apparently we can't.
Well, that is one of the biggest challenges I think that we have as people in general, right? We tend to be perfectionists sometimes, especially in America. It's all about being number one here, right?
Totally.
And number two doesn't matter, and number three, forget about it, right? So the concept and idea of, which is a very Christian idea, right, of God loves you and accepts you no matter what.
Exactly.
That doesn't always make its way into our lives in America, and doesn't even always make its way into our church.
Well, that's true. It's more of a cliche than it is really, an understanding of living.
Right, exactly. And so, whether it's job problems or money problems or war, the difficulty that we're dealing with on a societal level here. I wrote a column a few weeks back about Christians and Muslims and how we can get along with each other, and how actually Vatican II talks about how we need to reach out to each other more. So this is an opportunity. All the problems and all the madness that's going on within that whole dynamic is really an opportunity for us to reach out and say, hey, it's not a perfect situation, that there's a lot of things that are going on that are horrible out there, but it's an opportunity for us to reach out in our imperfection, but our beauty, and say, we're here to love each other. And that's what it's all about.
Vatican II 50 years ago, who would have thunk it, wisdom, but it kind of paved the way, I think, for certainly a wider expression of lay people taking the initiative in making the faith known, and that's kind of what you've done with your column, I would say. It's almost a tool for evangelization, don't you think?
I think so. I just actually, my most recent column is top 10 reasons it's cool to be Catholic. And, that's a great tool for evangelization, right? Now the number 10 reason is donuts at Mass. So there's some funny ones in there.
Yes.
But, the number one reason is love. A faith and a religion that's totally focused, supposed to be totally focused on love. and reaching out to others. So what I try to do in my column is really to bring that idea home of, hope, faith, and love is what we're supposed to be doing every day in our lives. And every issue, every problem, every struggle that we encounter really is an opportunity, if we look at it the right way, to promote hope, faith, and love in our lives.
Chris, sitting in the pew each Sunday, I mean, what are you picking up from, people that are sitting around you? What's the vibe that you pick up just in ordinary Catholic life? And the Sunday Mass is going to be the setting in which you kind of pick that up.
Well, one of the reasons I love writing my column is because when I do go to Mass and when I do a lot of talks around the city, and I get people coming up to me all the time and saying, thank you for making my faith real. And they talk to me about some pastors that do a great job of this and really do make the faith real, and then sometimes there's some that don't. And they wish that it would be more practical, it would be more real. It would be something that they could leave the church and go home and practice, And I hear a lot of that. And that's a good thing that they're being critical, because it says they want that. They want more. They're engaged and they want to be more engaged.
They want instruction.
Yeah, and that's a positive thing, I think.
Yeah, it is a positive thing. Now, you've taken your columns, A Better View, and you've put them into a volume. Mm-hmm. Tell me about this book. Tell me about this book and how is it available? And what are some of the pieces that you decided to put in this?
It was a wonderful blessing to be able to do this. I've written this column.
What is it? The Best of a Better View.
The Best of a Better View, and the column is called A Better View. And so we've taken the past 10 years, selected columns from the past decade, and compiled them in a book. Amadeus Press is the publisher. It's a local Catholic publisher. And it's available on Amazon. And
I think you've got a copy of it here.
We do, yeah. And let me grab a little snapshot of it right here.
The Best of a Better View.
Best of a Better View, and
it's a good picture.
This is actually a different
You're
jacket.
Actually wearing the same.
It's not. Everyone thinks it is. I just have a lot of jackets that look the same, and so.
Well, the question is, do they fit?
I had a posting on Facebook where they said, "Why do you always wear the same jacket?" So I want to let everybody know I'm not wearing the same jacket officially. So, but no, I'm looking up on the cover, if you notice, and if you get the book and you go, I'm looking up to heaven for a better view, and that's what I do every day when or every time I write. Exactly. Yeah. There you go. I wrote a column a few weeks ago about miracles and how they are real and they happen in our lives. Father Alonso, who used to be at the Franciscan Renewal Center, just passed recently.
Father Alonso de Blas, yes.
Absolutely incredible man. Touched my head and my back. After I experienced back pain for 4 or 5 years that was debilitating. Next day I woke up with no pain. Can't explain it except for, I'd asked for that help. I asked him to help, and, incredible things happen. And that's what I write about, just about every experience. I've written about school shootings and the horror of school shootings, but how it's an opportunity for us to reach out to our children, how it's an opportunity for us to reach out to the media and say, don't cover things this way, don't sensationalize these kinds of things. Maybe we need a kinder, gentler society. This is an opportunity for all of us to make it.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly, So I've written about relationship problems, being single, Valentine's Day. Every other Valentine's Day, I like to write a little column that says, you know what? You don't have to meet anybody today. It's okay. You can just go out and love everybody in your life. And there's so much pressure on Valentine's Day, right? You have to have a date. You have to have, if you're single, God forbid, And God's love comes in God's time. And these are all the kinds of things that we can remember. If we realize we have the love of God in our hearts, and the love of God is around us and everybody that we meet, then every single thing that happens, no matter how negative it may seem, is really an opportunity for us to reach out and do that. And I try to just go through just about everything in our lives that happen. And you can go through this book and you can find a column on about everything from why it's great not to be a celebrity and the problems of too much money versus maybe it's okay that you don't have as much as you want. Maybe there's some opportunities that lie in that. To finding a job and a good way to reach out and find a job. And So it's a Catholic faithful perspective on just about everything that you think might be going wrong in your life.
Chris, you're one in a million. Everyone, check out Chris's column, A Better View, when you get a chance, on Catholic Sun. And Chris, it's been great having you here on Catholics Matter, and look forward to getting a copy myself. You know, my homilies need it. They really do. We'll see you the next time on Catholics Matter, everyone. Take care.